Well, I'm just going to be honest. I'm actually losing my faith in Fujifilm. With the release of the XS20, I started doubting the direction Fuji was going in. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you 10 reasons why I'm losing faith in Fuji and I'm not really enjoying the direction where the company is going into. From a photographer's perspective, but also purely from a videographer's perspective. Leave your comments below if you agree or disagree with me. Now, the main reason what I see here is, which really made me doubt. I had the XS20, I never posted any reviews here about that machine because it's the first time ever that I had a machine with an X-Trans 4 sensor, so combined with the X5 processor, so the ones which are on the XH2 series. And I noticed in that processor there was something strange going on. It messed up quite a few things, specifically autofocus, but it was also the XS20 was also overheating like crap. So I kind of got a bit like, what is this here? I've never had this in my life with Fuji cameras, but this is strange. Now, the autofocus performance is often being coined as this is the best autofocus, and Fuji, historically from the X-T3 series onwards, you really saw a big massive step forward with the autofocus, let's say from the X-T1 and the X-T2 series. That's a given fact. Fuji has made us believe we're going into the era of artificial intelligence, which means is we have fun little gadgets like insect autofocus tracking. I really needed that. Planes, trains. You also have granny tracking on this now, yeah, because hard to keep up. You can notice my sarcasm. And the sad thing is, if you shoot in autofocus continuous or AF single on the X5 processor, I need to think here a bit, the cameras actually work pretty decently. But the minute you put in the artificial intelligence, it becomes a very wavery experience with boxes popping up, eyes being locked, and then you shoot your picture and it's not so locked. You see it on video moving away. So I find that, I don't know what they did. We all were very happy here with Fuji. You just have to shoot it in single. We all knew it. We didn't expect Sony autofocus. We didn't expect razor sharp images. We just expect nice looking images, and we don't mind it if we have to shoot in single. And that's a big difference with what we're seeing right now in the latest line. So in the X-Trans 5 and the X5 processor. Jesus, it's difficult. But you look at that and you're thinking, okay, but these cameras are not only a little bit more expensive, they're technologically way more advanced. And yet Fuji has it in their heads with the release of the X100 Mark VI. Yeah, this is the 6th iteration, people. That's nearly a decade of this camera. And the one thing they refuse to do is weather seal the bloody lens. They refuse it. So you buy this thing for 1,600 euros. You have to wait for about 7 to 8 months if you already get it. And then they say, oh, by the way, you have to buy this and that and the other ones on top of it, 200-300 bucks in accessories. And hey, look at this now. Now your machine is fully weather sealed. That machine is not weather sealed, which is ridiculous because they still use the same lens as on the X100. They haven't made that many improvements to the lens. And the most important thing on a fixed lens camera is, yes, the lens. I'm looking at that and thinking, are you guys deaf? Or you're simply not wanting to listen? What's going on here, Fuji? Come on. People are, this is your best selling camera ever. Yeah, it's partially weather sealed. It's not a big thing. You just have to spend 300 bucks more and you'll get it. Come on, people. That's ridiculous. And then I'm talking about the build quality. And this is an interesting one. Pick up your XT50. And if you have an older XT, let's say 10 or 20, just hold it in your hands. And you'll notice one thing. That's an important thing, is the build quality. It's fundamentally different. The older Fujis were not superbly heavy, but you could feel this nice little balance going on. Now with the X-T4 tank of a camera, the X-T30 Mark II, less of a tank. Let's put it this way. And with the X-T50, the materials haven't improved, yet the price has gone up exponentially. Now that is something that I'm looking at as an, oh, there we go again. Put cheaper materials into it, still pretty sturdy. Bunk up your specs and everybody's happy. Well, I'm not happy, so let me know in the comments below, guys. Am I just an old sour grape here, or do I actually have a point? Now, all of that is one thing, but then Fuji is with the firmware upgrades on the X-T5 line and the XH line. They've actually done something which is, in software development terms, quite an achievement, is that every firmware upgrade you release actually makes your camera performance worse. That is something I have to commend them for. How in God's name can you do this? And then they come out with this graveling apology online. I know Japanese culture in that way it's quite a big thing, publicly admitting that you actually made a mistake. But come on, Fuji, invest in those things, test them properly before you release them. And just annoying. This is really annoying. And we're talking here, by the way, Fujifilm is the best-selling camera company in the world, not only this year but the last couple of years, because of their Instax series. So come on, guys, it's not a question about money. You've actually upscaled your factories to produce more film rolls at a higher price. Come on, guys. This is simply, if you're going in on technology that much, make sure you get your firmwares 100% correct. And then, much to my horror, number 9 here, much to my horror, XM5. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad camera, but the marketing on it, vlogging camera, that basically means that you can put a big REP into the ground, into the graveyard of cameras, because let's be honest, there is no perfect vlogging camera for content creators. There always is a trade-off. Either the focal length isn't good enough, the in-body stabilization isn't good enough, there's some weird design quirks which prevent it from being good. It never, ever, ever helps. Let's be very real. If you really want to do the old-fashioned vlogging or content creation, this thing here, the Osmo Pocket 3 is fantastic. Any modern action cam or a 360 cam can pretty much help you there. I wish they would stop doing it. And then if I see the finishing of the XM5, I'm like, oh, people, a vlogging camera. You can just now order the Undertaker and just, that camera's dead before it even started. And I don't care how much people say they like it after 400 shots in 2 days. Nonsense. Test it for a year, people, and then you'll see that I'm not wrong. There's one other thing which I get annoyed about, and that's basically for all camera manufacturers, but for Fuji also, is why don't you listen to us, to your customers? Why don't you do that? Why do you keep on coming out
with, hey, we've got a camera for both photographers and videographers, let's do a slide flippy screen, or we'll have it a vertically up screen, just make a hybrid screen. Which one tilts out to the outside and upwards?
You know what we're really interested in now? In smaller cams. So the XM5 is a pretty good idea, but we're all waiting for an X70 Mark II with, a little viewfinder on it, a little bit of a normal battery into it, keep the sensor, keeps the X-Trans 3 sensor, and we would be happy. We would be happy, but no, you come with an XM5, which is a content creation camera, you put the audio jack somewhere, which makes no sense. So just don't listen to us. Well, we Fuji shooters are very happy with single shooting. We've done this through the X-Trans 1 until 3 sensors. With the 4 it became a bit better, and with the 5 it isn't that much. So we really don't care about the continuous autofocus. If we want to have continuous autofocus, we'll go to Sony. It's a simple truth, guys. Don't try to always keep up with the rest. Yeah, and I think really all of this, what I'm saying here, is also part of the pressure of success that Fuji has had. Fuji's gone from kind of a cult following, like some of the watch brands have, to suddenly mainstream because of the power of social media. They've sold more cameras than any other company in the last 2 years. Used Fuji cameras have skyrocketed in such a short time. So it really tells you something, that if influencers get into it, it definitely will make your shareholders happy, but it doesn't make your development team happy. I think that's what Fuji is suffering from. They want to keep that momentum going, but you see quality issues now. And that's, in the long run, never going to generate more revenue for you. It never does. Yeah, and then the one thing, the last part, number 10, where I really get angry about, is that they treat us like beta testers. Which basically means is we buy a product new, and 80% of the things, the features are functioning, and 20% isn't. It's like, oh yeah, in firmware 2, in 3 months we'll get this. Why are we beta testers? You're not going to buy a car where they say, oh, by the way, your gearbox only works until gear number 3, 4, 5, 6, I'll come in half a year. Yeah, and your brakes, ooh, you can only do that up until 50 miles. If you go above it, you have to wait for a couple of months. It's just stupid. Nobody would buy that car. And yet we do it with cameras. And that's one thing that really annoys me. So that's my little rant for today, folks. Hope you liked it.